IP Man, the Lone Warrior. Prologue, The Shadow over Hong Kong. In the late 1950s, Hong Kong finds itself in the grip of fear. A vast criminal empire known as the Black Dragon Syndicate has taken control, ruling the streets with an iron fist. Led by the ruthless Master Loong, a former warlord turned crime lord, the syndicate has amassed an army of 9,999 deadly fighters, mercenaries, assassins, and martial arts masters from across China. They control the police, the markets, and even the schools. Anyone who dares to oppose them vanishes without a trace. The people of Hong Kong live in silence, their hope fading with each passing day. But one man refuses to back down, P-Man. Now in his late 40s, the Wing Chun Grandmaster has dedicated his life to peace and discipline. He has seen war, poverty, and injustice, but nothing prepares him for the storm that is coming. Chapter 1. A Friend in Chains. One evening, as Ip Man walks through the bustling night markets, he notices a commotion. The Black Dragon enforcers are dragging a man through the streets. Master Loong, a respected martial artist, and one of Ip Man's oldest friends. Loong had tried to stand up against the syndicate, and now he is paying the price. Before Ip Man can act, the thugs beat Loong mercilessly and take him away to the Dragon's Den, the syndicate's heavily guarded fortress in the heart of the city. Word spreads that in 7 days, Master Loong will execute Loong publicly as a warning to anyone who dares to resist. Ip Man knows what he must do. Chapter 2. The Impossible War begins. With only 7 days to act, Ip Man begins his one-man war against the Black Dragon Syndicate. He starts by tracking down their lieutenants, dismantling their operations one by one. The Bamboo Alley Ambush. Ip Man walks into a notorious alley where 100 gangsters lie in wait. They charge at him with clubs and knives, but he counters with fluid, devastating Wing Chun strikes, taking them down within minutes. The Underground Fight Club, a corrupt martial arts tournament where fighters are forced to battle for the gang's amusement. Ip Man steps into the ring, defeating 5 elite champions in succession before confronting their leader, the towering Iron Fist Zhao, who falls after a brutal exchange. The Factory Showdown. In a raid on one of the gang's smuggling warehouses, Ip Man faces 500 armed men. Dodging gunfire, he takes out wave after wave of opponents, using their own weapons against them. Word spreads through the streets. Ip Man is fighting back. Chapter 3. The Battle of 9,999. Master Loong, furious at Ip Man's interference, unleashes his entire army. The final battle is set at the Dragon's Den, where Loong is scheduled for execution. Ip Man arrives at the fortress alone, standing before the 9,999 gang members blocking his path. The crowd sneers, laughing at the lone warrior. Master Loong watches from above, confident that no man can defeat an army. But Ip Man is not just any man. What follows is the most legendary battle in martial arts history, the first 1,000. The weakest gang members rush forward, hoping to overwhelm him with numbers. Ip Man moves like a storm, his hands and feet striking with lightning speed. Bones crack, bodies fall. Within minutes, the first wave is defeated. The next 3,000, armed with swords, spears, and chains, the next wave attacks. Ip Man dodges and counters with ruthless efficiency, using their weapons against them. Blood stains the courtyard as he moves forward, the elite 5,000. These are the Syndicate's most skilled fighters, masters of Shaolin Kung Fu, Muay Thai, and Japanese Kenjutsu. The fight lasts hours, Ip Man enduring countless blows, but refusing to fall. He fights through exhaustion, fueled by his unwavering spirit. The final duel, Master Loong. As the last man standing, Ip Man ascends the stairs to face Master Loong. The crime lord is a master of tiger claw kung fu, his strikes designed to tear flesh and break bones. The two warriors clash in a brutal, earth-shaking duel. Ip Man's body is battered, his energy nearly drained, but as Master Loong prepares to deliver the final blow, Ip Man counters with one final Wing Chun chain punch, striking Long's chest over 100 times in 3 seconds. Master Loong falls. The Black Dragon Syndicate is finished. Epilogue. A new dawn as the sun rises. The people of Hong Kong emerge from their homes, witnessing the ruins of the once mighty gang. Ip Man, bruised but victorious, frees Master Loong and walks away silently. His mission complete. The legend of Ip Man, the lone warrior, spreads throughout China. His name becomes a symbol of hope, proving that one man, armed with courage and honor, can stand against an empire of darkness. IP Man, the lone warrior, a story of honor, courage, and an unstoppable will. Prologue. Shadows over Hong Kong. The city of Hong Kong trembles under the iron grip of the Black Dragon Syndicate, the largest and most ruthless criminal empire the city has ever known. Their leader, Master Loong, is a former warlord.
Hi, my name is Eleanor, and I'm 56 years old. Life hasn't exactly turned out the way I thought it would. My husband, Jonathan, passed away 2 years ago. He was a kind man, but distant, always lost in his work or thoughts. When he was gone, I thought I'd spend the rest of my days quietly, gardening, attending family events, and reading in the evenings. That summer, Nathan came to visit. Nathan is Jonathan's nephew, 28 years old, and full of a restless energy that I couldn't quite place. He had just finished a long stint in the city and wanted to spend some time in the countryside, away from the noise. At first, he kept to himself, walking through the woods or reading on the porch. But slowly we started talking. About everything and nothing. He had a way of asking questions that made me feel seen, really seen, for the first time in years. One afternoon I was struggling with a creaky old fence in the garden when Nathan offered to help. He worked silently but with purpose, and I couldn't help but notice how different he was from Jonathan. Where Jonathan was always preoccupied, Nathan seemed present, grounded. As the days passed, I found myself looking forward to our talks. There was something about his company that brought a lightness to the air, a sense of possibility I hadn't felt in years. One afternoon, as the sun filtered through the trees, I decided to tackle the attic. It was one of those projects I'd been putting off for years. Too many memories. Too much dust. I tied my hair back, grabbed some old boxes and started sorting through them. Nathan appeared in the doorway, his shirt sticking to his skin from the summer heat. "Need a hand?" he asked, a small smile playing on his lips. Before I could answer, he stepped inside and picked up a heavy trunk as if it weighed nothing. "Careful," I said. "That's probably older than both of us combined." He chuckled, setting it down gently. "Then it's a good thing I'm here to help." As we worked, we came across a box of old photographs. I couldn't help but smile as I showed him pictures from my younger days. He studied each one carefully, his green eyes thoughtful. "You were beautiful," he said softly, holding up a picture of me in my 20s. I laughed, brushing it off. "That was a long time ago." "Doesn't matter," he said, his gaze lingering on the photo before meeting mine. There was something in his eyes, something unspoken, but unmistakable. The air in the room felt heavier, like the space between us had shifted. I looked away, focusing on the box in front of me. These old things, they're just reminders of a life that feels so far away now. Nathan moved closer, his voice low. "Maybe it doesn't have to feel so far away." I froze, unsure of what to say. His words hung in the air, filled with a weight I didn't know how to carry. "Eleanor," he said gently, his hand brushing mine as he reached for a photo. "You don't have to do this alone. Life doesn't end just because someone you loved is gone." I looked up at him, my heart pounding. There was so much I wanted to say, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I nodded, letting his words sink in. That evening, the house felt quieter than usual. Nathan had gone out for a walk, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I sat on the porch, a cup of tea in my hands, watching the sun dip below the horizon. My mind kept drifting back to the attic, to the way Nathan's words had stirred something in me. When he returned, his cheeks were flushed from the evening air. He sat down across from me, his gaze thoughtful. "You okay?" he asked, breaking the silence. I nodded, though I wasn't entirely sure. "Just thinking." "About what?" I hesitated, then decided to be honest. "About what you said earlier, about not doing this alone." Nathan leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "I didn't mean to overstep," he said softly. I see how much you've been carrying, and I know what that feels like." His words caught me off guard. "You do?" He nodded, his expression serious. "Losing people. It changes you, makes you feel like you have to hold everything together on your own, but you don't, Eleanor. You don't have to." Something in his voice, earnest, almost pleading, made me believe him. For the first time in a long time, I felt the weight on my shoulders begin to lift, even if just a little. We sat there for a long time, the quiet between us comfortable, almost soothing. When he finally stood to leave, he hesitated. "Good night, Eleanor," he said, his voice soft. "Good night, Nathan," I replied, watching as he disappeared into the house. The next day, I found myself looking for excuses to spend time with him. Whether it was fixing things around the house or working in the garden, I felt drawn to his presence in a way I couldn't explain. One afternoon, as we planted flowers along the fence, I asked him about his life in the city. He spoke of long hours at work, of feeling out of place, of wanting something more. "Is that why you came here?" I asked,